In this episode, we are discussing the most magnetic force on the planet when it comes to bringing your visions and goals to life. If you are in a season of sacrifice, hustle, if you are feeling frustrated that your work is not quite paying off the way that you hoped it would by now, if you are in a season of feeling lukewarm about what it is that you do, and you feel like you're kind of being a little half-assed about what it is that you're doing, this episode is for you. Welcome to All In with Allie, the podcast for online business owners and entrepreneurs who are ready to create the life and business of their dreams. I am so happy you are here. So I had a breakthrough the other day that I want to share with you. And I've been talking about this a lot with my mastermind members. This has been an ongoing topic with us. We go really deep into, well, everything, but this is something that I brought to them, and it brought up incredible conversations among us. And it really affirmed a few things for me specifically. So I wanted to bring it to here, and it leads us beautifully into this magnetic force that we're going to be talking about today. So I made a goal for myself in July to work out 6 days a week for the full month. I don't know why I did. I mean, I had my reasons. I don't know why it was 6 days. I think it was 6 because standardly, like normally I would probably do, somewhere between 3 to 4 days a week. On a really good week, it would be 5 days. And I notice, and I would argue this is probably true for all of us, but I notice for myself when I am really taking care of my body. And for me, that looks like a few different things, but obviously the way I fuel my body and the food that I'm eating, but also how I'm moving my body. When I am doing a really good job at that, I'm my best self. I'm just the best version of me. So I think that's where the 6 days came from, because it was like, okay, here's my average. Here's my energetic minimum when it comes to exercise. Here's my energetic maximum. I want to push it up a notch and see what happens there. Because if I'm working out 6 days a week, that means that every single day, with the exception of a rest day, and I believe in a rest day, I'm fully taking care of myself. And I'm very much one of those people, when I'm in motion, I stay in motion, right? When I have momentum, obviously there's a lot that's positively impacted by that. But then when I stop, it feels like everything else kind of stops, and it's harder to get going again. So because I've learned this about myself, I like to do what I can to keep myself moving, figuratively and literally. So again, I made this goal. Okay, for the month of July, I'm going to work out 6 days a week, either at home, or I've been going to Burn Boot Camp, and I've talked about it a lot in my stories. And I love Burn Boot Camp. If you have a Burn Boot Camp in your town, go check them out. They have childcare. They're amazing. What I love about it is, and this is not sponsored by Burn, I wish, maybe one day. But what I love about it is, like, you're in and out in 45 minutes. You cannot, you don't have your phone, you put it away. They blast music. They tell you what to do. You get a new workout every single day, a different body focus every single day. And I just like it. So like, everybody has their own version of fitness that works for them. That works really well for me. I love mixing cardio and weightlifting. And that's what it is. So anyway, I've been doing it, and it's been great. And I also notice when I'm taking better care of my body and when I'm working out more, I get a lot more inspired ideas. When I'm in motion and I'm not constantly inputting and I'm not constantly overthinking everything, which I tend to be somebody who does that, I get a lot more creative ideas and I get a lot more breakthroughs. So this is leading me to the breakthrough that I want to tell you about. So I'm working out the other day and it was a cardio day. And that's like the harder day for me. I'm way more likely to go to weightlifting or what they call like a strength day versus a cardio. I'm way more likely to skip a cardio just because I'm not as practiced at it. And it's harder for me, right? It's really hard in the process. But what I love about a cardio day is the endorphin high at the end of it, right? You cannot beat it. If you know, you know. So anyway, we're doing this workout and this is one of the hardest workouts I might have ever done. Maybe like top 5 hardest workouts. It was hot that day. We were doing a lot of running outside and it was just a fantastic workout that whooped my ass. And we're about midway through and I get to my station. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. And I look up and I just look at everybody around me. And it was a bigger class that day. And I don't know, there was maybe like 30 of us or something. And everybody is just busting their own ass, right? Everybody has their head down, they're sweating, their faces are red. They're struggling as much as I am. And I was like, so proud of all of us. I was like, wow. And it wasn't like a competition. It was every man for themselves, right? It was just like you against you, but everybody was in and hurting, right? Like everybody was struggling. There was not one person who was, even the people in the group who have been going for years and who are very well conditioned. Like we all were struggling in our own way. And I was like, wow, that's really a beautiful sight, and I just felt this sense of pride for all of us in the room and for myself, for putting myself in that room. And I had this thought, I was like, wow, if we only could see the behind the scenes like this in business, right? Like all of us here listening to this podcast or YouTube video, if you're watching on YouTube, hi, like and subscribe, please. We're experiencing a very similar thing in our online business, right? If you are really, really going for it online or in any business, right? If you're going for it in any career, but especially entrepreneurship, okay? Let's just stick with entrepreneurship. If you're really going for it, meaning you're showing up day in, day out, you're putting in the work, you're pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, and you're doing the things that you need to do to keep your own self growing, but also your business growing, you are going to experience at the very least a 50-50 equation. And it's probably going to be more skewed toward the struggle, but you're going to experience, half really great days and then half really, really difficult days. And again, I feel like it's probably going to be more skewed depending on the season with the harder side, the more struggle side. But it makes sense, right? So like in the gym, we understand this. In order to grow physically, and to better yourself physically, you need to stress your body. You need to push yourself to the limit. You need to sweat. You need to get sore. If you're not pushing yourself outside of that comfort zone and making your face red and making yourself out of breath, you're not growing. You're not going hard enough. So we understand that in a physical capacity. But in business, or I'm going to speak for myself, I don't think of it like that. When I'm having a hard day, it's like, oh my gosh, why? Like, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? This shouldn't be this way. But I've been doing this long enough and I've worked under enough mentors and I've studied enough people who have come before me to know that that's the normal experience, is that struggle, and the good and the struggle. But again, we don't see that. As entrepreneurs, we're not seeing really the behind the scenes of somebody else, right? In the gym, I'm sitting there in the trenches with 30 plus other people going hard and hurting. And then getting to the end, there's no winner. There's no like, oh, you did better than me and you were ahead of me and you did. No, we're like, we all gave it our all. And we're all high-fiving, we're proud of ourselves, and we leave and we get the endorphin high and we get the benefit. Like all of us get the benefits. There's no like weird competition and weird like, oh, well, she's been doing this longer and look how she has it easier than me and whatever, like look how she's doing. Look at the outfit she's wearing. We're all just like, let's go, keep going. We're supporting each other. We get that. But in business, it's so different, especially online. Because what we tend to see online, as we know, are those highlight reels. And some people share the hard, but part of being a marketer is you show a lot of the good stuff, and that's a big part of it. And also that's the thing that you want to talk about. So my point is this. If you are in a season where your face is red and you're out of breath and you've got a cramp and you're wondering how you're going to make another rep, right? Or if you're going to be able to show up again tomorrow, you need to know how normal this is and how every single person around you, whether they're showing it or not, are experiencing the exact same thing. Maybe in different ways. And there are certainly ways to grow your business and to create systems and support in your business so that the pain that you're feeling is different. There are different kinds of pain, right? There's certainly pain that you don't need to feel in your business. And that's where we can hire people for support and take things off of our plate. But you need to know that like whether it's a champagne problem or a lower level problem, a problem is a problem. A pain is a pain. And you are not alone, whether they're showing it or not. And if you're looking around, judging yourself or judging other people for how they're running their business or how they're showing up, or comparing yourself against other people and how they're showing up, you're really doing yourself a disservice. You're wasting your time. And I think it's a lot easier to judge and to compare when we forget that we're all running the same race here. We're all running the same race. We're all just doing the best that we can, headed toward our version of all in or whatever it is that we're going toward. There's plenty of pieces of the pie. There's no one person who's going to win. We're all like in the same way that, at Burn, like I'm looking around, we're all just like us against us. Same thing in online business. So me looking to somebody else and be like, oh, gosh, she made this much money last month and she's now doing this and she's talking about this and how dare she have like that opinion on that thing or whatever. That'd be the same thing as like me busting my ass at the gym and looking at somebody else who's equally busting their ass, but maybe is a few steps ahead of me, maybe is a little bit more conditioned and like judging that she has it easier than me or something. It's just a total waste of time. So I don't know if that's landing for you in the way that it landed for me, but I had that moment and I was like, wow, again, if we could only see. And one thing that I want to do better about, and I don't know if maybe I'll do a series around this. Maybe I could do a specific day a month or a couple of days a month where like, this is all I talk about, but I pledge to be better about sharing more of my behind the scenes, specifically the difficult stuff, and not just in business, right? Like my whole thing, right? This is called All In with Allie. My whole thing is like helping us be, do, and have our version of it all. And that's what I'm doing. So like business is a huge part of that, but I'm also a mom. I'm also a wife. I'm also a sister and a daughter and a friend and a woman who wants alone time, like we're all very dynamic humans here. So to only share struggles in business is only sharing a very, very, very small part of the equation. And I could sit here all day and be like, we should all be better about talking about the things that we struggle with. But I'm just going to go first, and I'm not saying I'm the first one to do this, but I'm going to be better about this. I'm not going to put this on somebody else. I'm going to do it myself. So I don't exactly know what that looks like. If you have a request on how you prefer this, great. If you don't follow me on Instagram, I share a lot of behind the scenes I'm getting better about behind the scenes on stories. But like, as I record this yesterday, Rhett had an accident. He like went head first into a door frame, and I had to take him to the ER and get a CT scan to make sure he didn't fracture his freaking skull, and I shared about that because that's real freaking life. And that's what life looks like sometimes when you're running a business and you also have children. You're going to have to move a schedule around to take a kid to an ER sometimes, unfortunately. And thank God he's great. He's okay. So I'm going to do that. So that's one thing. Another thing, this is why I am such a proponent for group mentorship. Whatever, and I'm not just talking about mine. Obviously, I'm a big fan of mine. Big fan. But who's ever, right? Like putting yourself in the room with women who are playing at the level or aspire to play at the level that you do, or you aspire to play at the level that they do. Putting yourself in a room of women who are a good mix, some who are at your level, maybe some who are below, and certainly some who are above your level. Put yourself in those rooms. It could be free, it could be paid, it could be whatever. But what I recommend is some sort of group where there's actual conversation going on, where it's not such limited time to where you can only talk about business and you're not getting to the good stuff, to the meat of life and situations like, having issues in marriage or having issues with parenthood or having issues just as a female coming of age or, whatever, again, we're so dynamic. There's so many different pieces of our lives. If you are not around, a support system is fantastic, right? Whether that be a church small group or you just have a really, really close circle of friends. Obviously, as a woman, that's incredible. But as a business owner, I recommend putting yourself in a group of other business owners, like I said, because this is where you get to see and look around and see all the people around you sweating and working as hard as you are. And then it becomes normalized. And then you don't feel alone. And then not only that, you don't not only feel alone, but you also feel good about the struggle, right? Like while I'm working out, I'm hurting. I might have the thought like, I could just run out of here right now and just get in my car. Nobody will miss me. I've had that thought many times, but I never do. And then when you get done, the saying, you never regret a workout. You never regret a workout. In business, when you get yourself around powerful women who are playing at the level that you are, you never regret a difficult day that you move through. It's hard in the moment, but just like when you work out on your own versus in a group, you're probably way more likely to give up and stop short of the job at hand when you are solo and you don't have that, whether it be accountability or again, support where you're looking around, you're like, okay, we're all in this together. This is one of the reasons why I started working out at Burn. If you've been following along for a while, like we have an at-home gym and I still use it. And I've had trainers come and train me at home. I did that all through my pregnancy with Rhett, which I loved. This is before I found Burn. But something about that group, right? And when I'm working out on my own, I'm just so much more likely, when things get hard to not push myself and to not keep going and achieve the thing that I set out to achieve that day, whatever the goal is. But again, when you get in that group and you look around, you're like, okay, we're all in this together in our own way. So if you do not have this, go look. Like there are so many options. There are so many incredible women out there who facilitate this. Go facilitate your own. This is why I created All In the membership. My membership, it's not like your average membership. I've made it in such a way where, yes, you get the membership benefits of like all the programs and you get the membership pricing, which we love. But this is why I took it out of a scaled membership model, because I believe in this so much. And I include 2 coaching calls every month with no time limit so that we can come in and we can have the proverbial workout session together and look around and say, I'm not alone. Okay, we're in this. I'm in this. Here's what I'm going through. Here's what I'm going through. Here's what I'm going through. Okay, here's what I need support on. Okay, that actually really helped me too. Here's what that brings up for me. 2 times a month. It doesn't make sense for me to have a membership like this. It kind of defeats the purpose. Membership should, best case scenario, be scaled. But I don't believe in that. I want the camaraderie. I want to offer that in a way that's not thousands of dollars a month, because I have that too. But All In is this group. So if you have not looked into the membership, we still have the summer promo going and going strong. So please go to the link in my bio, go check it out. It's a year-long commitment, and it is your opportunity to plant your flag and say, I'm in this. I'm burning the ships. There's no other option. The only option is me hitting my destination, which leads us right into today's conversation about the most magnetic force on the planet, which is the energy of All In. And the energy of there's no other option. There's no other option but this. So I'm sure you've heard the saying, burn the ships, right? When you hear people talk about going all in, you'll hear like sink or swim, burn the ships. Do you know the story behind the saying burn the ships and why that's a thing? Well, I do, because I did the research. So let me tell you about it. So back in 1519, a man named Captain Hernan Cortez landed on the Yucatan Peninsula, which would later be what we know now as Mexico. And he wanted to conquer it. Okay. So he came and he landed with 500 men and 11 ships. Now, what normal people would do, and what probably a rational person would do, is when they landed, they'd probably like keep the ships in case they need to retreat. In case something goes terribly wrong, they have a plan B. Old Cortez was like, nah, you're going to disassemble those ships and we're going to use the parts of the ships for shelter. And his men were like, bro, what if this? What if that? What if this goes wrong? What if that goes wrong? We need a plan B. We got to get out of here if we need to get out of here. And Cortez was like, yo, we have 2 options: conquer or die. Conquer or die. There is not an option for retreat. There's no C. Okay? We either take Mexico or we die. Or we die trying, right? And I can only imagine the feedback he was getting and the criticism, and who knows, I'm sure people were like, what? And I didn't do enough research to know if they succeeded. Not a history buff. I think they succeeded. Wouldn't it be so funny if I'm telling this story as like the most motivational thing ever and they actually all died? I'm so stupid. I think, you know what, guys? I think it went well. I think, scanned the site, and I didn't get very far. But it is my understanding, I'm pretty sure it went well. Okay. No, it went well. It had to, right? Of course it did. Otherwise that wouldn't be a saying. Yeah. Okay, we're good. That's a public school education, y'all. But anyway, but that's like, I want you to really reflect on this for a second. And I want you, if you are in a season of your business where things are not working, or things haven't been working, I want you to ask yourself if you have a plan B. Do you have ships in place? Do you say to yourself, okay, if this doesn't work, I can do this thing? Because that would be something to look at. Because I want you to imagine, again, like think of these guys coming up. They're about to fight for their lives and for this land. And I want you to imagine probably the difference of energy of conquer or die. That's it. Or conquer or retreat. Because in my experience with business, okay, let's take this back to business. The biggest breakthroughs happen right after like the hardest struggle in a lot of cases, or right after the biggest sacrifice or the biggest decision, right? Like that all in, I'm in no matter what, there's no other option scenario. That's when the breakthrough comes, right? It's darkest right before dawn. There's a reason why we have all these cliche sayings, because that's how it works, right? Like in a workout, you feel the best after you just pushed your body to the absolute limits of your physicality. That's when you feel the best and you feel the biggest rush of endorphins. That's when you get the best results afterward. Our businesses are no different. But if you go into a scenario, whether that be a workout, a fight, or a business or a goal with an option to retreat and an option to get out of it, then the second that it gets hard, your brain is going to go, okay, get out, retreat, you're dying, retreat, out. This hurts. This is uncomfortable. This is hard. This isn't fun. Get out. Save yourself. Get on a boat. Go back to safety. Go back to comfortable. And this is why so many people, and myself too, have experienced this stop, go, stop, go, stop, go. Because it's go, go, go until it gets really hard. And then you retreat. And then you say, I shouldn't have done that. Go, 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 go until it's really hard. And then you retreat. I shouldn't have done that. Go, go, go till it's really hard. And then you retreat. But at some point, you're not going to have the option to go again. At some point, retreating looks like going back to the old job, or going back to the old business, or whatever the thing is. At some point, the self-sabotage takes you past the point of being able to go for it again. And that's what that is. Anything less than all in when it comes to something that you really, really want is self-sabotage. Whether that be a relationship, a business, a goal, any energy less than being full ass all in is self-sabotage, period. That's just it. Because you have to be able to push past that discomfort and keep yourself going. That's where all the good stuff is. That's where the wisdom is. That's where the results are. That's where your next level is. You can't go, quote, next level when you keep playing at the current one that you're at and refuse to continuously push yourself past that limit. Plan B is not all in. Plan C is not all in. That's the same as being married to somebody and saying, well, if this doesn't work out, I could just go back to my ex. I'm not worried. Like if this, I'm not worried about it. If he doesn't act right, or he does this, or she does this, it doesn't even matter. Cause like I got plenty of options. Then the second that things get hard, instead of saying, hey, let's do whatever we can to solve this. Let's go to counseling. Let's talk to so-and-so. Let's whatever it is, let's like conquer or die. Let's figure this out or nothing. That's it. Then instead of going there when it's really hard, you'll just retreat, aka self-sabotage. If that's the thing that you really, really wanted. Now, there's a chance it's not really what you want. There's a chance you're saying you want to go all in on a business that you don't really want, that really isn't right for you. Then in that case, you've got to come to an understanding if that's the case or not, and then go out. Don't go all in on something that's not meant for you. Don't marry somebody who's not right for you. Don't stay in a marriage if somebody's genuinely not right for you and you know. And don't stay in a business or a partnership or anything, a friendship, anything that is not right for you. But any kind of like lukewarm, half in, half out bullshit is a waste of your time. It's not only not getting you anywhere, but it's also keeping you from the right thing. From the thing that could actually bring you true happiness and true fulfillment and allow you to tap into your true it factor. But you got to know, but like if what you're in is right, and I think you know. I think we all know, especially women. You just know. Whether you want to admit it or not. And if it's it, the worst thing that you can do is not fully commit. I've said this a few times this week, and I'm going to say it again. There is nothing more powerful and more magnetic and unstoppable than a woman who decides to go all in. Now, there's two really powerful components of that sentence. There's the decision component, and then there's the all-in component. When a woman decides, that means that's just like all in right there. There's no other options. This is my decision. I am choosing this, period. That means it's gone past the point of thinking about it, past the point of talking about it. Now we are being in the energy of that thing. That's what it truly means to decide. One of the most powerful things you can do is deciding definitively. No longer thinking about this. It is done. It is who I am. It is who I'm becoming. And the second piece is the all in. When a woman decides this is the thing and I'm in, and there's no other options, there's no greater force. That is the code that unlocks it all. Maybe not instantly, because you got shit to do. It's going to take some time. Anything worth building is going to take time. But if you do your best to hold that energy every single day and to be the woman who is all in on that thing and backs it with whatever action is required to be all in on that thing every single day, you will only move forward. You cannot be stopped. You cannot stop a woman who has decided and there's no other options. And this is like, when you hear stories of people who have come over to America with like $10. Madonna, I mean, she didn't come to America, but like when I taught It Factor, I taught Madonna. She was one of the women that we covered. And she moved to New York and I think she had like $35. And she was going to be a star. She worked at Dunkin' Donuts and she danced her heart out and said no to opportunities that were not a match for what she wanted and did her freaking best until she made it. Dr. Andrea Morningstar, who has been on this podcast, who I talk about all the time, she is the woman who coined full alien. When she came to America, she had, I think it was like $100. I mean, it was something just doesn't even make sense. You hear stories like this all the time. And the people that are telling it typically have an insanely beautiful story of how they rose. And it's like, how did they do that? How does somebody come to a new country with $100 and then becomes a multi-millionaire? There was no other option. That was it. There wasn't the option to go home. There wasn't the option to go backwards or for it not to work. Like it was sink or swim. It was conquer or die. What is your conquer or die? What is your thing? This is how you cultivate true staying power in this industry. This is how you become a true leader. You cannot be a leader of an industry if you've been here for 2 minutes. It's not a thing. You have to have staying power. You have to be somebody who has experienced some things, who has gone through their own ups and downs and still chose to stay, still chose to forge forward toward the goal at hand, whatever the conquering is. There's so many people who have come into the online space during COVID and got a lot of success really fast, right? Like the gold rush, came in, struck gold. Yeah, I'm great. I'm smart. I know what I'm doing. I'm the best coach ever. And then the second that things hit the rocks and went down and things weren't good or easy anymore, now they're selling, I don't know, crypto or whatever. I'm pivoting my business. Which is great, because clearly that wasn't it for you. That wasn't your thing. That wasn't your all in. So good, go find the thing. But like anytime people complain or stress about an oversaturated industry, especially online, it's like, oh, you don't have to worry about that. Same thing with podcasting. It's like, no. Half of these people will be gone by the end of the year. Half of these people are just talk, are just smoke and mirrors. Nothing against them. I'm not hating. They'll prove it themselves. You see who the real ones are after some time. You see who the conquerors are when they rise up from the ashes, battered and bruised, coming from a year of a recession or whatever, still standing. Having to get scrappy, having to shift things in their business, having to take revenue cuts, having to whatever, but doing it because there's no other option. This is it. I'm not going to work in corporate ever, right? Like that's not an option for me. I'm not going to, obviously life's going to unfold how it unfolds. So I'm certainly not closing myself from opportunity or my business is going to evolve just like I've evolved. But you will never see me go back and work for somebody else. This will always be what I do in some way, shape, or form. There's no other option. This is it. And over time, that speaks volumes, and that is magnetic, and that builds trust. It builds credibility, and people can feel that. I had somebody reach out to me, and I don't share this to it's kind of sound a little braggy and self-promotive, but it builds my point here. But I had somebody reach out to me and they were like, I want to come back in your world. I can't do it right now. I got shiny coach syndrome and I kind of regret it. And they like named off a few people. They're like, I was working with you and then I got shiny coach syndrome. And I just realized like, there's differences in the online space and like with coaches. And she named off some coaches that like great women, but they don't, they're just flighty, you know, they're doing different things all the time. And like time and that all in energy, it really goes so much further than I think a lot of people give credit for. And it can't be faked. You can't fake how long you've been doing this. You can't fake the amount of wisdom that you have from navigating the storms of entrepreneurship and navigating the ups and downs of your own industry. It just is. And the fastest way out is through. So anyway, just a little pep talk for you. Because I know what it feels like to be, you know, sweating, completely out of breath, not knowing what's up, what's down, if you're going to survive this thing, not getting the results that you feel like you deserve or that you want or that you're working really hard for yet, and wondering if it's working. And I want to say to you again, you're not alone. That's all of us who are really doing this. That's all of us. And also, if that's really where you're at and you're giving it all that you have and you're truly all in, you are so getting somewhere further than you think. Keep going and shift it to like another way to think about this is like your business is your baby. You know, if your kid was sick, you would stop at nothing. You would go to the ends of the earth to get your child better again. Why? Because there's no other options. You love that child more than life itself. I'm not saying you need to love your business that much, but I'm saying that's the energy of all in. If your business is sick and you're not willing to go to the ends of the earth to figure it out, because that's your baby, because you love it, it's part of you, you need to look at that. Think of it like that. Like when I'm having a bad day, sometimes I'm like, okay, it's like, you know, it's no different than like, you know, having to go to the emergency room yesterday with Rhett. Like, was there a reality that I wasn't going to do that because I was busy that day or because I didn't feel like it? No, stop everything. Everything stopped because that is my human. That's my baby. I'm all in. I'm his mama. Of course, that's what I was going to do. My business is very similar. Not quite that, but very, very similar. That's all in, baby. Okay. I hope this was helpful for you. If you enjoy this vibe of conversation and this level of support and this level of topics, this is the vibe of my membership and the conversations that we have in there every single month, 2 times a month, with other women who, again, are playing at this level. If you need support, if you want support consistently, and you need that thing to like push you over, like the proverbial like cutting of the ships, no other options. This is why I made it a year-long commitment. You're either in or you're out. So if you're looking not only for the support and all the programs and everything that comes with it to support you in literally moving the needle in your business, but also that commitment, that ceremony for yourself to say like, no, I'm deciding, and this is the best decision I've ever made in my business. I would invite you to check out All In. I do a promo once a year. It will be up at the end of July. And that'll be your last chance until 2025. Check it out. If you have any questions, DM me at Allie I. Reeves. But I love you. I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you here next week. Bye.